Okay, welcome to this silent playthrough. I'm going to play through normal mode with the heart on silent and just talk a bit about silent. I did a Ironclad video a good while ago now at this point, and that was a much more in detail talk about the game in general. So this one I'm going to try and make it a little bit faster and just talk about silent specific stuff. Okay, so first thing to talk about is the difference between the the Ironclad and the Silent. So you can see here the Ironclad has 80 health and has the relic Burning Blood, which just gives you 6 health at the end of every combat. Silent loses 10 max HP from that and loses the relic that heals you at the end of every combat. So instantly that means that Silent is not as good at taking damage to the face as the Ironclad is. That's further exacerbated by the fact that Ironclad gets access to cards like Feed and Reaper, which, Feed increases your max HP and Reaper heals you, and then gets even better with strength scaling, which Ironclad has a ton of and Silent doesn't have that much of. So Silent is not good at all at taking hits to the face and is much more interested in trying to mitigate as much damage as possible. So if we look at the deck, you can see that kind of is reflected in the starting cards that the Silent has. So Silent gets Survivor and Neutralize, whereas Ironclad loses these 2 cards and gets Bash. Survivor is a stronger block card than your normal defense, and Neutralize applies a weak and 3 damage for free. So already Silent is off to a good start with the mitigation part. What Silent does not have is front-loaded damage like Bash does, like Ironclad has with Bash, giving you, I think, 10 damage and applying 2 vulnerable, which makes your strikes even better. Silent doesn't have that. So right at the start, Silent, and if you remember with my Ironclad video, I was saying in Act 1, you're looking at front-loaded damage quite a bit just to get you through the floors. So that's the first big priority that Silent has. I don't want to spend too much on the screen talking about Silent. We'll try and talk about her as we play through the game. Okay, so whale bonuses and the map. Another thing with Silent is Ironclad has very strong individual cards. So you have stuff like Corruption, you have stuff like Demon Form, and even like the uncommons like Flame Barricade is what it's called, and Shrug It Off and stuff. Ironclad just has very strong individual cards. And a lot of Ironclad's gameplay is just getting these strong individual cards and having those cards take you through the runs. Silent doesn't do that as much. Silent requires more combinations of cards and relics. Again, you remember in the Ironclad video I was talking about how this isn't a constructed game. You're constantly picking cards for what you need to solve at the moment or in the near future. And that's the same with Silent. I'm not talking about Silent being way more of a constructed kind of deck where at the end you have everything doing things perfectly. I'm more talking about you're just looking for little interactions with cards. You'll still have a massive deck just like the Ironclad, but this time instead of Ironclad just playing Corruption and having that solve a fight, Silent is kind of looking for play something like a Burst into a Malaise or something like that, and or play a bunch of attacks when you're holding a kunai or a shuriken, that kind of thing. So what does that mean? Well, it means that relics are very important for Silent, more so I would say than Ironclad. There are a lot of very strong relics for Silent because Silent, like I said, needs something to interact with, needs things to ping off each other. So that means right now when I'm looking at my map, I'm prioritizing elites more so than I would as the Ironclad. The next thing I have to keep in mind is the Stein Boss. Stein Boss is a really, really tricky boss for Silent because Silent has lots of a lot of Silent's cards will do scaling damage. And while that usually works well against the boss, Stein Boss is different because he asks on turn 3, I think it is, do you have enough damage now to stop me doing this massive attack? And not only that, do you have enough damage to get me through my split point, but get me far enough into my split point that the 2 splits aren't going to overwhelm you. So Slime Boss splits at 75 health, and that means that whatever he's doing whatever move he's doing before 75 health. When you bring him past 75 health, he instantly changes that move into question mark, question mark, question mark. And what that does, it splits them in two, and it divides. It takes whatever you have, whatever health he has, and just makes two of those. So what's really important is when you get to that break point, that you go far past that break point, right? So if you get him to 74 health, having two bosses with huge amounts of health is even worse than having just the one boss. So you need to go far past 75. And Silent actually really struggles with that, because Silent struggles with doing large bursts of damage on a single turn. Silent's much more interested in doing iterative damage. And like, you know, Silent has a massive poison package. Silent has lots of mini attacks. Whereas Ironclad, you know, you just get Carnage on that turn, you play it, and all of a sudden you've taken like 20 points of health off the Stein Boss, plus whatever else you have. So that's things. So our upfront damage is quite important in general for Silent in Act 1, but even more so when you're against Stein Boss. So I'm just looking at a route here. I mentioned this in the Ironclad video, but what you tend to want to do is hit a rest before you go into your first elite, because you get to upgrade a card that'll help you against the elites. So I'm just looking at this path here. Hits us elite here, we get a rest here, elite here, and a rest here. It's a tough enough path, but I think it's probably... I might go this way so I hit a question mark, just so we're not going to like 5 hallway fights in a row. Sorry, I have a coffee with me here, so just in case you hear slurping. So my well bonuses, one thing to note with the Lose Your Starting Relic, you do this much more often on Silent than you would with Ironclad. Getting 6 health at the end of every fight for Ironclad is just so vital to what that character does. Silent, the drawing 2 cards at the start of every combat is actually really nice and remains just great throughout the whole run. It just lets you set up your first turn much easier. But you can lose it. Silent, you know, doesn't depend on it as much as Ironclad does. I will never pick this. I don't like colorless cards, and I don't like taking 21 damage. Might just be remove a card, I think. Like I said with Silent, they have a great mitigation package, but their strikes are really bad. Worse than Ironclad's, because at least Ironclad has bash, so the strikes do more damage. Strikes for Ironclad, strikes for Silent is just not good at all. So as I go through the fight, I'm not going to speak much about them, but the main thing to keep in mind is you want to not take any damage. And you might say, oh well duh, but with the Ironclad you can take some damage because you're going to get it back. It's not the same case with the Silent. Every point of damage you take with the Silent tends to leave a much greater effect than it does with the Ironclad. I think we're going to take some damage here. Nothing you can do with that. Okay, so card picks. Okay, so this is going to be Endless Agony. Like I said, I don't want to deliberate too much over the early card picks, but like I said, you want early damage at the start to get you through the hallway fights and the elites. Endless Agony is quite nice because when you draw it, you get 2 cards that do 4 damage. A lot of people kind of look at this Endless Agony card and kind of start thinking, oh, well, what can I do with this card? This looks like a synergistic card, you know, because you get 2 copies of it. And what if I had like a Shuriken or a Kunai that every time you play 3 attacks, you know, it gives you a strength or a dexterity. And then Endless Agony is quite good for that, absolutely. But Endless Agony is just a straight up a good card in general. Like, I'm drawing this and I'm getting 8 damage for 0 mana. It upgrades into deals 6 damage, so it's 12 damage for 0 mana. That's really good. So you don't need to think about this one too much. So I might talk a little bit about more item choices kind of on this floor. So there's a elite on this floor called the Gremlin Knob, and what this guy does is, I'm going to go with Finisher here. Deal 6 damage for each attack played this turn. that's just decent in general, even with a bunch of strikes. It's not, I mean, it's not amazing with a bunch of strikes, but that's 12 damage if I play 2 strikes, which is more than I would get with 1 strike, if that makes sense. But also, it goes quite nice with Endless Agony if I draw it. But it's just a good card to have. I'm going to probably remove another card here. Get rid of these strikes. So yeah, Gremlin Lob's on this floor. So Neutralize actually also works quite well with Finisher. So why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal because... Sorry, I know I keep interrupting myself, but this is quite important. I usually say that you should... Even 1 point of damage, if you can block it, block it. Even if you're missing out 6 damage. The only enemy I would kind of change the device on is the Bird Cultist. Because... the Bird Cultist gains strength every turn once he's cast his ritual, so he gets 3 strength every turn. So the Bird Cultist will do a lot more damage to you as the fight goes on. So you want to end this fight early enough. Now, what am I looking at? So right now, it's just a small thing, but it does matter. If I play Defend now, I kind of want to kill him next turn or the turn after that, to not take even more damage than the one I'd be taking now. If I strike him now, he's pretty much dead next turn for sure, but I'll be taking 1 damage. If I defend now, I look at my draw pile, it's empty, so I look at my discard pile. What are the chances that I get to deal 17 damage next turn? Not amazing, but I might be able to full block next turn as well. I'm going to try to do this little experiment here. So 9... Yeah. Okay, so that was worth doing. Okay, so I have to stop here because I'm talking about the Gremlin Lob, and this is important. So yeah, Gremlin Lob's on this floor. Gremlin Lob's a fight that it's a race, right? So he starts dealing... he hits you and he weakens you, and then he starts doing massive attacks to you. And if you cast any skills in the fight, he gains strength. This is a massive problem for Silent because a lot of Silent's really good moves are skills, and that's both in the mitigation and in the damage side. Like Silent has a lot of poison damage that are skills. So I look at Backflip here, and Backflip is just a brilliant card. It does card draw and it does mitigation, which are 2 of the big, if you remember the checkbox analogy we had with the Ironclad video, 2 big ticks on the checkbox with the draw and the block. But this is a completely useless card against Gremlin Lob, and if I draw it, if I put it in my deck, I'm increasing the chance that I'm just not going to draw damage every turn, and that's going to kill me against the Gremlin Lob. So this is something you need to think about throughout the entire part of Act 1. So when I look at my map, I see, okay, I'm going into an elite here, and I'm going into an elite here, okay? There are 2 chances I get Gremlin Lob. So it's quite high that I run into a Gremlin Lob here. So every skill I put into my deck before I clear this guy here, I'm upping the chances that Gremlin Lob's going to kill me. So I have to be really careful about every single skill I put in here. Now, if I get Gremlin Lob here, after that I'll start picking up skills, because this guy can't be Gremlin Lob. The way the game works is it'll never give you the same elite twice in a row. So if this is Gremlin Lob, I can start leaving that now. But right now, I think I'm going to pick a Slice. It's not amazing, but it's more damage, and it also works well with Finisher. Okay, going to go with a Well-Laid Plans here. It's on sale, and Well-Laid Plans is just fantastic because if you remember what I said about Silent at the start, the Silent wants things to go off, cards to go off with each other. Cards to go off with relics and such, and the Silent has 2 main ways of doing that, and they're both in deck manipulation. The first main way is card draw, and Silent will get access to lots of really good card draw. The second way is Well-Laid Plans or Runic Pyramid as a relic, and these things allow you to retain cards after a turn. So if you imagine that, say you have a burst which makes you play a skill twice, and then you have something like a catalyst which doubles or triples the amount of poison. That's an example of how Silent uses 2 card combinations to do a lot of damage. It's much easier to pull that off if you have a Well-Laid Plans. That's one thing, okay? And I think that's the thing that everybody understands with Well-Laid Plans. Fantastic for that. The second thing is it's just good in general, all right? Just on the floors, because it allows you to shape your hand how you kind of want it. So a perfect example, if you remember a little while back in the jawworm fight that I had, I drew a bunch of defends, I think when he either wasn't attacking or when he was attacking a little bit. And I could do nothing with that. I just had to play the defends and I full blocked. But then because I drew a bunch of defends, my next turn I drew a bunch of attacks. And then he was doing a big attack at that time. So the only thing I could do is just play my attacks and take the damage. But if I had well-laid plans, I'd be able to retain a block from the turn I didn't need it. And then I'd be able to play the block on that turn that I drew a bunch of attacks. So it's just a brilliant card in general. It does a lot of things for Sound. I'm also going to take a fire potion. You know, a lot of people, I think definitely me included. This took me a long time to actually kind of think about. You know, these potions are just they temporarily tick off what you need. So what do we need right now going into these elite fights? We need a bunch of damage. This fire potion just gives me 20 damage for free, and it's well worth picking up going into the elite fights that we're about to go into. Another thing well-laid plans lets me do, I can hold finisher now for better turns. This is what I mean. I think you can already start to see kind of what I mean with silence having cards that interact with each other. Okay, bollocks. I love Crippling Cloud. Absolutely love it. This is such a strong card. Apply 4 poison, upgrades to 7, deals 2 weak to all enemies. This just ticks so many boxes. It ticks AoE damage, it ticks AoE mitigation, it ticks front-loaded mitigation and kind of front-loaded damage a little bit. You know, upgrades into 7 is 7 poison is decent. For 2 mana it's not great, but 7 poison. But this has the exact same problem as Backflip did with Gremlin Knob. And we're going into a fight now where if I drop Crippling Cloud, it's kind of useless. It's decent against the sentries because it'll take off their artifact charge and then apply 2 weak to all of them. And it's pretty good against Lagavulin. But I just can't bring it into a Gremlin Knob fight. Whereas Backstab is excellent in a Gremlin Knob fight. And, you know, fine in the sentries and Lagavulin as well. I won't complain about it. Okay, so we're upgrading, maybe. I think we're upgrading an Endless Agony just to get us that little bit more damage. Okay, who have we got? We got Gremlin Knob. Okay. Right, we didn't get Finisher, unfortunately, but that's okay. We got a bunch of damage here. Okay, so here's his buff, so now I can't play any skills. But that's okay. We have this fire potion if we really need it. Okay, I'm going to play a skill here because I think we can kill him next turn. And listen, even if we can't, we have a fire potion that can do it. Yeah, okay. Observed insect enemies and elite combats have 25% less HP. Okay, so now I'm going even more so for elites because I need relics and this is going to help me kill elites. I'm going to go with Dagger Spray. Dagger Spray is AoE. I think I mentioned this in the Ironclad video, but you need AoE in the game. You're going to have a lot of fights that give you multiple targets. And especially in this act, we're coming into the harder floor fights now. And the game will give you 3 easy floor fights at the start, and then you'll move into the harder pool of floor fights. And one of them is the Slime Boss, the Slime Gang and the Gremlin Gang, which are groups of enemies, so 6 slimes or 4 gremlins. And right now I have nothing for them whatsoever. So Dagger Spray is going to be really useful for that. It's also going to be quite good in the slime fight, Slime Boss fight, when I split them. Dagger Spray is going to be good for that AoE split damage. Okay, so I've got question cards, so I'll have 1 extra reward in a fight. Okay, so I'm going to anger the mushrooms here. That's going to give me 3 of these rat mushroomy things, but I'll get a good relic off the fight. And very happy now that I have very happy that I have AoE damage now. Sorry, I'm just trying to work this out. You need to be careful here because when they kill you, when you kill them, they'll apply vulnerable onto you. So what I'm trying to work out now, I should be fine, right? Yeah. What I'm trying to work out now is, can I kill these two guys? Yes, I can. So now this guy's doing a lot of damage, but hopefully I can block it all. Okay, got through that. And now I have an ab mushroom. So when vulnerable enemies, so I take 25% more attack damage rather than 50%. So it'll just protect me from vulnerable a bit. Right, now, perfect. So Gremlin Knob's gone, right? I'm not going to meet him again because I'm only going into one more elite. And that means that I can pick skills. Bouncing Flask is really good. It'll apply 9 damage to a single enemy, or it'll spread out 3 damage 3 times if in an AoE fight. So it kind of does both for you, both things for you. It does AoE damage and it does single target scaling damage. The problem with Bouncing Flask going into a slime boss fight, though, is when the slime splits, he'll negate all your poison. The two slimes that come out just come out without poison. So it can be really nasty spending a lot of energy in the first original turns building poison on to do a bunch of damage, and then when he splits, he just ignores it. Also, poison can be a bit tough to make the split at 70. Sorry, I'm going to hit the mic there. Make the split at 75 damage. Like neat, you know, sometimes your poison will just like lap over 75 and you've got a really bad split. So that's definitely something concerned about. Backflip is the other one. Backflip is a really good card and it'll cycle through my deck quite fast. And also I have a lot of 0 mana cards at this point. Here. Endless Agony will exhaust, but even still. And Backflip will mean that I can play more cards in that time. So I think Backflip is the play here. Gonna upgrade Dagger Spray. I need more damage, I think, for Stein Boss. Okay. So I'm going to, what'll I do here? I could just do 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna well lay plans. And I'm gonna hold on to Finisher. The idea is I draw Endless Agony here. I don't. That's fine. I'll hold on to Finisher again. Lagavulin gives you 3 turns to set up. Okay, so this is better. Right. A lot of damage there. I'm going to full block here. I haven't beat, like, so I can play it safe. Right, that was a lovely fight. Okay, Thread and Needle. So you can see that. Sorry, just real quick, the power of well laid plans there. That just well laid plans just single handedly won us that fight. Thread and Needle start each combo with 4 plated armor. Plated armor is really nice. Just if you don't know, it will add on 4 block at the end of every turn, unless I take unblocked damage. Which case, for every instance of unblocked damage, I'll lose a plated armor. That's interesting. Okay, so what am I thinking here? I'm thinking I have a decent amount of front loaded damage at this point. But I do need a bit of scaling. I have no poison whatsoever, which isn't a bad thing against Slime Boss, but... And also, once I draw Endless Agony at the start, it's gone. It exhausts. Which is great in hallway fights, but not so good against bosses. So I think we're not doing Endless Agony. So it's between Poison Stab and Dagger Spray. Calculated Gamble is really, really good, but hopefully we can speak about that later, because it's a later card. It's a card for a more advanced deck. I think we go Poison Stab here. Or do we? I'm not sure. So we get an upgrade, and I don't think we'll need to rest, so I do get to upgrade one other thing, but maybe I just upgrade finisher. I'm going to go poison stab. We already have one dagger spray. I think we need a bit of poison just to start that going. We have a duplication potion. What will we duplicate? We duplicate finisher. So I'm going to get rid of swift potion, I think. Right? Not sure. So the idea I'm thinking here is we hold on to finisher at that turn that we need a big burst of damage, and then we duplicate it and we do a huge amount of damage. The only thing I don't like about that is it kind of has to work out perfectly, whereas swift potion is the other kind of way. If something doesn't work out perfectly, you can just use swift potion and draw 3 cards and spread out your deck. I think we'll go duplication potion. I think there's enough things we can duplicate to be quite strong. Okay, this is the slime gang. So just need to. I think this should be fine. We have a good enough deck to deal with them. Yeah. So that didn't. So that didn't look too difficult, but that can be a really tricky fight if you don't have enough front loaded damage, and that's something I think that a lot of silent players will find. They'll go in and they'll like keep their poison package and all that kind of stuff. They'll be like, oh, I want a really good scaling deck, and then they come up against something like the slime gang, or they come up against the gremlin pack and they just get murdered because they don't have enough damage at the start. Okay, so let's talk about this. I suppose we should probably talk about the mitigation that Silent has real quick. So Silent has 3 main forms of mitigation. The first form is the most obvious one, which is the dexterity. Dexterity is a stat in the game where every point of dexterity you get an extra point of block. Silent has a card called Footwork, which just gives you straight up 2 dexterity and upgrades into 3. And you can get multiple copies of this card because it's an uncommon. You see it quite often. So there's that. You can get relics like Oddly Smooth Stone, which gives you an extra dexterity, and then you can get a relic like Kunai, where when you play 3 attacks in a single turn, it gives you a point of dexterity. And Silent, you can see probably here, gets access to a lot of very like low mana cost or 0 mana cost cards in the case of Shiv, attack cards. So it's very easy for Silent to ramp up quite quickly using Kunai. So that's the first one. It's the most obvious one. Second one is Malaise. Malaise is a card in the game. You might have seen it in the shop. I couldn't afford it a while back. It takes X amount of strength away from an enemy, and it puts X amount of weak on an enemy, where X is equal to the amount of energy you put into it. So it's an X card. If you have 3 energy and you play it, it takes 3 strength away, and it puts weakness on 3 for 3 turns. It upgrades into X+1 for both of those things. So with Malaise, you get up a bunch of energy, you play it on a big mob, and all of a sudden they're hitting you like a wet noodle. So obviously that speaks for itself. Wraith form gives you intangible. Intangible makes it so that enemies that are attacking you only attack you for 1 damage that turn. So Wraith form, you can see here, gives us 2 intangible, upgrades into 3 intangible, and at the end of your turn we lose 1 dexterity. So obviously losing dexterity works the same way as gaining dexterity. All of your blocks start doing 1 less. So Wraith form and then there's Apparitions in the game, which is a card that you can get through an event, which just gives you 1 intangible. And then there's also Ghost in a Jar, which is a potion that gives you 1 intangible. So Silent has access to that as well. The thing with Wraith form is, if you have 1, say if your intangible package isn't really going, you just have 1 Wraith form and you haven't come across anything again, you just need to be careful when you play it. It's kind of like Corruption for the Ironclad, because at the end of your turn you lose 1 dexterity, and that goes past the time of intangible you have with Wraith form. Once you play that at the start of the fight, you just start losing a dexterity every turn. So if the fight goes on long, all of a sudden your block cards just they don't block for you anymore. So in an ideal world, you get a bunch of apparition effects through either a bunch of Wraith forms and apparitions or Ghost Jar, whatever, and you just don't care about the dexterity because they're just hitting you for 1 damage throughout the whole fight. But listen, one Wraith form is still brilliant, as long as you know how to play it. And again, with well laid plans, that helps as well. So that's the mitigation. Wraith form is an absolutely fantastic card. Doesn't massively help us here in the slime boss fight because it's going to go on too long, but it will help us a little bit. And also, throughout the entire game, Wraith form is going to be really good. Catalyst is also a very, very nice card in terms of damage scaling, so doubles the enemy's poison, upgrades into triples the enemy's poison. But obviously we don't have really a poison package going at the moment. We have one poison slab, so Catalyst is going to be a dead card until we get more poison. And even if I wasn't offered Wraith Form here, if I was offered 3 garbage cards and a Catalyst, I still wouldn't pick Catalyst because we just can't use it yet. So Wraith Form's the pick here. Yeah, why not? Okay, we're not gonna rest here. I think we're okay. That's the question here. Do we upgrade this or do we upgrade this? I think we upgrade Finisher. We want damage. Okay. I'm gonna play a power here, I think, and I'm gonna play Noxious Fumes. Noxious Fumes is really nice against Stein Boss because what I said about losing the poison is it's a pain in the arse, but Noxious Fumes just keeps going. So even when Stein Boss does clear the poison, my Noxious Fumes will just apply 2 more poison next turn to both of them. So that's quite nice. So I finish her here. If I wanted, I could duplicate it right now. I just need to work out how much damage that is. Okay, so I'm doing 35 damage, and then I play Finisher twice. Yeah, I think this is fine. This is going to split him instantly, but it gets a good split. Probably didn't need to spend so much time calculating that. Okay, I'm going to play Wraith Form here, because I think we can kill them in the time needed. So these guys will split again, but don't need to worry about that. Okay, so quite happy I picked a duplication potion there. Let's go Cinejar, that's quite nice. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, I think it's Wraith Form. So the thing about Wraith Form is, like, you can never have too many of these cards once you go down this route. It's kind of weird to say that in a Slay the Spire run, because Slay the Spire tends to disagree with a lot with that comment. But Wraith Form, I mean, you just keep stacking Wraith Forms and they'll just never touch you, which is really useful. I think if Wraith Form wasn't there, it'll be an Adrenaline. Adrenaline's just a really, really nice card. Anyone that kind of knows Ironclad knows Offering. It's not as good as Offering, but it's kind of does kind of similar thing. But Wraith Form's the pick here. I'm hoping for an Energy Relic. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so why am I hoping for an Energy Relic? Right, because I'm currently on 3 energy. The jump up between 3 to 4 energy for us right now, in general, is massive, but for us, even bigger, because we have 2 chunky Wraith Forms. And if we're sitting on 3 mana, we play Wraith Form and we can do nothing else that turn. And that's not good with Wraith Form, because Wraith Form puts you on a clock. So an extra mana for us is vital. I would never pick Busted Crown for the reward of Act 1, because it takes away 2 of your future card choices, and you know we don't have enough cards right now to beat the game. But we have a question card, so we'll actually now get 2 cards, which I think is okay. Both of these are quite good as well, and Black Star works really well with Preserved Insect. So we could just go gunning for elites. Maybe that's. I'm massively. If I don't pick this, I'm massively risking it, because we will get through Act 2, and we probably do quite well with Black Star and Preserved Insect with the deck that we have. Problem is, I get to the end boss of Act 2, and if he doesn't give me an Energy Relic, I'm really screwed, because 3 mana is just it's not enough to play this deck. Yeah, I'm gonna go Buster Crown. Okay, so boss is the champ. So I think we might have talked about this in Ironclad, but the champ, he really, really cares about your scaling damage. Because halfway through the fight, he puts a massive buff on himself and he goes to town on you. So you need to be able to kill him before then. Right now, our scaling damage is not good. We have Finisher, which is decent, but that's kind of it. We need more. So we need something that either combos well with our low cost cards. So something like a Envenom or a Slice and Dice. That was called Slice and Dice. Or a relic like Kunai or Shuriken would be great. It would be more Shuriken because of the strength scaling. Or we need to go further into our poison package. Our mitigation is really good with 2 raid forms. We got a backflip, got some defense, and we could use a bit more card draw. We only have the 1 backflip, but our deck manipulation we have well laid plans, so that's quite nice. But yeah, definitely need more card draw, and we need more scaling damage. I'll also be looking to upgrade the 2 raid forms pretty quickly because that extra turn of intangible just makes a lot of difference. Small thing in Act 2, the Act 2 throwaway fights really kind of crush Silent. Just the way they work out, they kind of counter Silent quite hard. So you want to be avoiding them as much as possible. But we still want to be taking on elites because elites will give us the relics. I think it's just a 1 here we can go through. Yeah, this is not a great floor. Okay. Yeah, we get a shop here, so we'll go that way. Okay, I'm going to play Wraith form. Yeah, sorry, I don't need to defend because I've got plated armor. That'll be fine. Plated armor, really nice with Wraith form. So the Muggers, they attack you a bunch of times, and then that's nice. And then they shield up and run away. So we don't need to play Wraith form here. And they take the money, every time they attack you they steal money, and then they run away with your money. So you gotta kill them before they run. Yeah, that does work, okay. Joke's interesting. I just don't think we have enough 0 cost cards to do that. I think I might just take a Deflect Plus. 7 block for 0 mana, can't argue with that. Oh my god. Okay. We now have 3 raid forms in our deck. This is just ridiculous. Good example of an enemy that kind of counters Silent. Silent obviously can do a lot of poison damage and stuff, but this enemy has 3 artifacts and has a massive amount of shield, and Silent tends not to have the damage to break through that shield. So yeah, kind of an example of an enemy that kind of counters the Silent. But we are breaking through. Yeah, Backflip Plus gives us more card draw, more mitigation. Power Potion. Probably instead of the poison. So, another example of a enemy that counters the Silent. Like I mentioned before, Silent cares a lot about skills, kind of like the Gremlin Lob fight. This guy puts a debuff on us, and every time we cast a skill now, every time we cast a non-attack card, it's even worse. Sorry, I'm trying to work this out. I think it's probably better to go this way. Every time we cast a non-attack card, it'll put a daze in our draw pile, so not even our discard pile, which is not great, obviously. So we just need to be careful here now. He starts hitting quite hard once we're out of intangible. Okay, we can just do this. So you can see what I mean with us lacking damage a bit. We are lacking a bit of damage. Finisher right now is kind of getting us out of jail a little bit, but we can't rely on Finisher forever. It's not an end game card really. It's unfortunate. Okay, so I think we just need to... We're 1 damage off. So we're just going to Fire Potion. Unfortunate. Skewer. No. No, I don't think either of these is going to help us. So the Snecko puts Confusion on you, which randomizes the amount of, the energy cost for your cards. So we're just gonna stack up a bunch of raid forms here. We badly need damage. We're really lacking that at the moment. -7 dexterity, so our wraith forms now are really cutting into the dexterity. I'm gonna have to hold a strike for 2 mana just so I can do damage. So mana backflip, that's nice. Okay. None of these are great. We can start ignoring stuff like deflect now. We just have our block cards. We need to deprioritize them now because we just have so much intangible that block really is not going to be any use to us. I'll let attack. No, we need scaling damage. Hopefully the shops will sort us out. Okay, I'm gonna upgrade these. Okay, shops. That helps. 1,000 cuts, not slice and dice. Singing Bowl is actually really good with Busted Crown, because we're skipping through a lot of cards, and Singing Bowl allows us to max 2 HP by 2. But I think we have to go 1,000 cuts. And I think we start cutting defense, which is weird to say. I'm going to go Poison Potion as well, just because we need to go. No. Oh, don't love this. This kind of really randomizes the game, and since I'm doing a video here, I probably don't want to do that. I'm just going to gain the gold. Strawberry max HP. Yeah, that's fine. Gonna smith up 1,000 cuts, I think. I know I said raid forms, but we need damage so badly against the champ. Okay, yeah, 1,000 cuts is gonna be so good here. We've taken a bit of damage for it, but I think that's fine. So Gremlin Leader summons a bunch of different gremlins. They're going to be no problem to us though, just because we have 1,000 cuts. So we're doing so much AoE damage. Wraith form here. So you can see now 1,000 cuts has really helped us with our damage. We're not out of the woods yet, I don't think. The champ is going to be interesting. Burst is good. What can we burst? Not much yet, to be honest. Burst is your next skill. It's played twice. Really good with poisons. But I'm going to hold on to it because we have a well-laid plans. It doesn't do much for us yet. We can, like, you know, put up a survivor or a backflip to draw twice. Our well-laid plans will help us. You know, we're kind of really well set up now for this. We just need to get a good skill. Just trying to see, do I need to duplicate anything here? I think I might hold on to it for a finisher again, just because we're lacking damage. Although, yeah, get rid of poison. Whetstone creates 2 strikes, which isn't amazing. I think I might go into another elite here, just to see if I can get some nice. Sorry, I'm trying to think about this block. It's fine. See if I can get a good relic. I'm not going to Wraith Form just yet. I want to do more damage. So with these guys, you want to hit the Centurion first and then go into the Mystic. Oh, that well-laid plans is upgraded. Okay, so 1,000 cuts really helping us in the damage here. This is no good to us. Book of Stabbing. Okay, Book of Stabbing is going to be a little bit nasty. Mostly because he does lots of multi-attacks. So I think we're going to get our damage up first, I think. I want the well-laid plans. So we're going to take a bit of damage here first. That's okay. Fine. Just holding on to the Wraith Form. I'm going to play it when I need to play it. It's probably now, to be honest. I think I can just combine my Wraith Forms now to keep this guy off my back. Okay, Anchor's nice. Start each combat with 10 block. And a footwork. Okay. No, I just don't see it. Like, we don't really need to care about our block anymore with this amount of tangibles. What we need is damage to get us through the fights. So I'm going to skip that. Okay. The 10 block we're getting is quite good here. Just helps us. The anchor just can be so nice sometimes because an enemy will just straight off the bat start hitting you for loads sometimes, and if you just have 10 block at the start of your fight, it can really help with that. There's our 1,000 cuts. Burst out this. Lovely. I'll hold on to Wraith Form. Okay, what have we got? Um, Deadly poison. It's just not doing a lot. Does give us some poison, which is scaling, but it is not much. No, I don't think so. Just doesn't do enough for us right now. I'm gonna smid out another rate form. I think we should be fine with the tramp. I might go in with a power potion and hope I get some more scaling, and I do. Okay, I got Noxious Fumes. That's gonna beat the champ for us. Gonna hold on to backstab. See if we can get a finisher on it. And we can't. So can we backflip into one maybe? Nope. Can we backflip into another one maybe? Yes, we can. Missed out on 1,000 cuts, but that's okay. Okay, I think we just start playing rate forms now. Hold on to 1,000 cuts. Usually I would hold the Wraith forms because the champ, like I said, does a little bit of damage at the start. I mean, you know, it's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not loads. But then he gets halfway through and he buffs himself and he does a ton of damage. So if you had a bunch of Wraith forms, I would say just hold out until you need them. I think he's doing his buff now. But I'm just playing these cards just so I get the 2 extra attack. But I have like just so much intangible that I don't think it's going to matter really. Oh, I messed up there. That was silly. Playing too fast. Okay, so we take 6 damage here. No, we didn't need to. Okay, now this is his buff, I'm pretty sure. But we have a Wraith form for it. So he'll remove his poison as well. We got a bunch of strength, and here comes the big old attacks. But we're okay. So we just gotta kill him now. Before he kills us. Trying through my deck, so our intangible runs off again here, but we have another Wraith form. Okay, so one more turn. I mean, if we're really stuck, he's dead, but we had a Ghost in the Jar. Anyway. And you're dead. Okay, so champ time. It was okay. We definitely need more scaling. So this is quite good. Corpse Explosion. It gives us poison. We definitely need more poison. Upgrades to 9, I want to say. Yeah. And also, when enemy dies, deal damage equal to its max HP to all enemies. So really, really nice on AoE fights. If our end boss going in now is Donu Deka, we probably have enough to just kill him straight up. Because we put this Corpse Explosion on one of them. We burst that person down, and then they have the same health, so the one will kill the other. Five mana. How important is 5 mana? It's pretty good here, considering we have 3 Wraith forms and a bit of card draw. The double the effectiveness of potions is also decent. We're going to stay away from Velvet Choker because we've a few turns where we just like use a lot of cards. So Velvet Choker would destroy that. So that's completely out. So the question is, Slaver's Collar is nice because we have the 4 mana for the hallway fights. The extra mana to the 5th is not nearly as important. So like 3 to 4 mana is like so important because it allows us to play Wraith form and then another card, or it allows us to play two mana cards. Um, 5 mana tends not to be that important, but we now with 5 mana could play Wraith Form and 1,000 Cuts, and there have been I think 2 occasions now where I wasn't able to do that and I had to pick one. So I think I'm going to go Slaver's Collar just on that. We obviously don't get the... That's Timekeeper. Okay, that's alright. We obviously don't get that benefit during the hallway fights, but that's not too bad. Okay, so what do we need now going into Act 3? Well, the first thing we need is all 3 of our keys. So I need to pick a path that... Okay, so I have to go this path. And that's not too bad of a path. So I need to get the Super Elite here to get part of the key. So if I go here, it gives us a shop here. We do not get to rest for ages, which is not great, but... I mean, this is the path we have to go. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for more scaling damage and more card draw. 2 big things there. Card draw and scaling damage. Good example here. I mean, do I need to? No, I just play Well-Laid Plans. So these guys need to kill them all within the turn of each other, or they'll all come back. Can I just... No. Corpse Explosion, very good for this. Yeah, that's what that does. Okay, Caltrops is good scaling. Whenever attack, deal 5 damage back. The Timekeeper does a few multi-attacks, so Caltrops is quite good for that. So that gives us a bit more scaling damage. I was going to fish for... No, I was going to fish for 1,000 Cuts there. Yeah, I think we just play Wraith Form here. Burst down 1. There's our 1,000. I'm pretty sure 1,000 Cuts doesn't proc Thorns, right? Jesus, I don't know that. When attacked, deals 3 damage back. Deals 2 damage to all enemies. I'm pretty sure that's okay because I'm not attacking him, right? Yeah, okay, that's fine. Our burst still not really doing much for us yet. Although we can burst Corpse Explosion, that's something. Corpse Explosion again, working out well. Oh! I'm an idiot. Did not. Okay, no, none of these are great. I mean, Shivs does help a little bit with 1,000 Cuts, but no. Power Potion. Yeah, I'm going to do a Power Potion instead of Duplication, just because you can get some good scaling with powers, and that might just do it instead of actually finding a card. Okay. I'm gonna go backflip here. The block's not great because, like I said, we use just so much intangible, and sorry, we have so much Wraith Form, which is taking away dexterity, but it's quite good to like cut through or to draw through our deck. Get rid of another defend, I think. We come across another shop, don't we? Yeah, okay, we come across another shop, so I'm not going to go mad here. And play Wraith Form here. And we just raid for him and wait for a corpse explosion. Nope. I'm going to go this way because I want more card choices. And same again, just draw until we get a corpse explosion. And here's one. Oh, I should have bursted that. Would have been smart. Doesn't matter though. Can't attack here because the Thorns will hurt me. So I'm just going to play a bunch of cards just so we proc 1,000 cuts. Another corpse explosion, that should do it. No. Don't love this. Madness just clogs up the hand a good bit. I think we just lose max 4 HP here. Okay, going to a shop again, hoping for some scaling. Nope. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to hit a shop again, probably, until the heart. Is there anything I really need here? I don't think so, to be honest. No. So he's really careful with this guy, because he changes his attack every time you do damage to him, and that's very scary for our deck because our deck does lots of bits of damage. Usually a good way to beat this guy as silent is you poison him, because poison, you know, poison only affects after. Okay, so I hit him once. Okay, that's fine. So the rule of thumb here is you only want to do damage to him when you can do damage again, because if I hit him here and he moves on to attack that I really don't want him to do, like for example he can put a curse into your deck, there's nothing I can do then afterwards. I just have to suck that up. Okay. Can't block this, and can I do 8? No. So if you hit his armor, he won't change his attack, so I just have to straight up. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to corpse explosion here. Need poison damage. Okay, I'm going to caltrops. Okay, this is going to be a little bit tough. I have to be careful here. Okay, I can do a bit of damage to him here. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And backflip. Okay. So I can't hit him any more times because this will break his shield, but it won't change his attack. Then this will, but I have the chance of him using that curse. Okay. Don't love this. It's a little bit tricky. I think I have the 1,000 cuts. I think I just have to suck this up. He needs to die because he's going to outlive my intangibles, and if that happens, I'm dead. Okay, I can skill this. That's really nice. Oh shit! What am I? Didn't need to do that. Fuck. He's put a curse on my deck now. God damn it. There's nothing I can do to stop him doing that. That's poor. I was so bloody careful. Okay. That was so unnecessary on my part. I didn't need to use that last. Okay, yes, this is huge. This is big scaling damage. Applies 3 poison to all enemies. The idea now is I soak up a load of turns just with intangible. Okay, I have to take the Sapphire Key here. Soak up a loads of turns with intangible, and Noxus Fumes then kind of does the job. This is a really nice turn one. Oh, that feels good. So this is a super elite, so it metallicizes. So it'll gain 8 block at the end of every turn. Just thinking, do I... Yeah, I think I want to Corpse Explode this guy, because she'll probably summon more guys. But even if she doesn't, it'll deal 25 damage to her. So, yeah, she's not going to, but that's fine. It's 25 damage coming her way. There's that damn parasite. Ooh, that's nice. So Vajra started each combat with 1 strength. That's really nice for our deck because, you know, we have lots of little attacks. So, yeah, really good. Emerald Key. Do we need acrobatics? How important is it that I draw through my deck? I think it's fine, yeah. I think one of these is okay. Nope. And we need to recall here. Yeah, okay, we can fight these. Okay, very important to get well-laid plans going here because these guys do a lot of damage and I'm going to want to Wraith Form. Which means I get to now hold on to something like 1,000 cuts. So these guys can be quite scary because they get a lot of strength very, very quickly. But with intangible, we're covered. Okay. Okay, we have the captain's wheel, so goes with the anchor. So at the start of combat, we're going to get 10 block. At the third turn to combat, we're going to get 18 block. Neither of these are any good. They're elite. Okay. What we really wanted, well-laid plans here. I think I just cast Wraith Form. This guy can be a little bit scary because he kind of alternates turns. He goes intangible every odd turn, so you just can't deal much damage to him every second turn. He does a lot of damage, and I'm a bit worried now because we've drawn 2 Wraith Forms, so we only have 1 left in our draw pile. And if I don't play this now, it could be a long time before I see Wraith Form again. So I think I have to play this. I can backflip one more time. No, I have to play this. Okay. That's fine, I think. Yeah, I'm just gonna play this as well. Now we have we have like 5 turns of intangible. That should be fine. I think this is the first time I've kind of realized the strength of having plated armor with intangible, or with wraith form, because 2 well-laid plans. No, I think I can just upgrade, right? Let me think. So having 2 well-laid plans over an upgraded well-laid plans means it's more likely we'll draw into it, which means we can play it quicker. It is important to hold on to our wraith forms going into this fight. But I could just... yeah, I could just go further into card draw. Okay, we don't need to rest. We smith, and I think we smith up a well-laid plans. I think we have enough intangible going into this boss fight. Okay, so Timekeeper. Timekeeper, if you don't know, he only allows you to play a certain amount of cards every turn, 12 cards, and then when you do play 12 cards, he'll stop you playing entirely. He'll end your turn, and then he'll gain strength. So you just need to be a little bit careful about how many cards you're playing. So I think we just go straight into raid form here. 7. So I can play 5 cards next turn. Yeah, that's fine. Eight, 9, 10, 11, 12. You want to end on a... oh, 2 cards, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. Another thing the Timekeeper does is when you get him past half health, he will start channeling a spell, and what that does is it'll heal him back up to half health. So if you can't get him past half health, then don't bother trying when he's casting that spell, because it'll just heal him back up there again. We have 2 turns of intangible left. That's fine. Six, 7, 8, 9. So I can play 3 cards next turn. That's fine. One, 2. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so he'll do this attack, and then we'll start channeling a spell, which is a heal spell. I'm just gonna let him do it. Yeah, I'm just gonna end this turn. I think there's no point. No point doing anything to him. Yeah, just heal back up, and he gets rid of his poison as well. We have, what, 3 turns of intangible left? This is just incredibly good. Cycling through my deck. What I want is Corpse Explosion back again for... I think we just play these. Oh, I was looking at Noxious Fumes. It's not intangible. Okay, that's fine. He's getting pretty close to dying, so I think we're okay. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Don't think we can play. No, we can't. We need to hold on to. Play 2 cards here. Okay. 1, 2. I'm going to play a few cards here because I can get a decent finisher off. We have 1 turn left of Intangible. Okay, so here's the attack. It's fine, we have Ghost in the Jar, but I think we can kill him anyway. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're definitely slow on damage, for sure. We just have so much mitigation. The heart will be interesting. The heart slows you down on damage anyway, so yeah. Okay, I think we. God, do we want the knife? I think we just want another turn of Intangible. Okay, give me scaling. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, that helps a lot. Yeah, we go Snecko Skull here. Don't think our debuffs matter that much. This is usually really good orange pellets, power attack and skill, because the debuffs really matter. But like when you look at our deck, like what debuffs matter? Our frail and our weak doesn't really matter that much because we don't actually do much right click damage. It's a MMO term. We don't do much like actual damage. We rely on a lot of we rely on 1000 cuts a lot, and we rely on poison a lot. And also we don't mind being vulnerable either because our Wraith form doesn't care about being vulnerable. Do I just play poison here? Feels weird. I think we deadly poison. Do we? I don't know. Maybe. Let's get rid of a block. Try to defend. And is there anything else we want to do? Don't think we want any of these cards. Maybe we should have got that. Maybe I should have got the bomb. Okay. Right, so against the spear and the arms, the spear and the shield. So these guys do a ton of damage to you, and also it depends on which way you face them. So when you attack them, you face them. Back attack deals 50% more damage, but we don't care about that because we got Wraith form. Corpse Explosion, excellent here, obviously. And here it is. Well-laid plans and Corpse Explosion. Hold on to our Wraith form. This should be an easy peasy fight. This fight can be really tough, especially in the higher ascensions. This is just a horrific fight. But against like just the deck we have now with 3 Wraith forms, like what can they do? And a Corpse Explosion. They just can't touch us. Okay, GG. Okay, hard time. No. Sundial, every 3 times you shuffle your draw pile, gain 2 energy. That's not bad. Okay, so Heart. One thing we have to be really careful about now in this fight is his Beat of Death. So whenever you play a card, take 1 damage. So that's really dangerous with our plated armor and with Intangible, because Intangible like just allows you to take 1 damage, which is fine when they're doing big hits, but when you're playing a card every time, every turn, and taking a point of damage, that hurts. And the way you get around that in the heart is you play your block card first, you take the damage, the point of damage to your block, and then you can play a few other non-block cards because your block will suck that up. The problem with Wraith Form is it takes away so much dexterity that we're going to get to a point now when we play a block card and it'll do no block for us, but we'll still take the 1 point of damage. So we need to be very, very careful of that. Drink a potion. Envenom here is the play. Whenever you attack deals unblocked damage, we have a lot of attacks because we have 1,000 cuts. It applies 1 poison, but that also works with Snecko Skull. So whenever we attack now, it will be doing 2 poison. Which is like, compare that to Noxus Tunes, for example, which just does 2 poison at the end of every turn. Okay, so we want to play a Survivor first. And probably get rid of Corpse Explosion. Oh, we didn't need to play Survivor. Stupid, sorry. We had forgot we had the Anchor. Okay, so another thing with the heart is it only allows you to do a certain amount of damage every turn, but that's actually fine for us. What that basically is supposed to do is it really limits you when it comes to these decks that just like go off on 1 turn, like say a Catalyst deck for a Silent where you just apply, 500 fucking poison on a turn. That doesn't stop the heart. That don't stop the heart. Should have played Blackwood first. Mistake. I think we play Wraith Form here. Yeah, I think we just start playing Wraith Forms. We're going to lose our plated armor super fast, but that's okay. I think we have enough scaling now with Envenom, Snecko Skull that we don't really care. Okay, that's a lot of crap. Alright, Caltrop's going to come in very handy here. He's taking 5 damage every time he hits me. Here's 1,000 cuts. Okay, that doesn't actually take away your plated armor. That's quite nice. Beat of Death doesn't. That's good to know. Okay, so he's gained 1 artifact, which is not great, but not going to do much when we have an Envenom. Okay, I think we're coming to the... No, we've still lots of intangible, actually. Okay, so here's another good example where intangibles not doing great for us. He's going to hit us for 12 damage, and we can't block that now. So, not ideal. So there goes our plated armor. But you know what? That's okay. We probably honestly just let the poison do its job. I should stop taking just little bits of damage for no reason. I mean, it's not no reason. I'm trying to cycle through my deck so I get poison again, but I don't think I need to worry about it that much. Another 12 damage. That's okay. Can I neutralize him? Yeah. Oh, it doesn't actually do anything. Oh, I'm intangible, of course. That's why. Okay, and that's the game. Right, so that is Silent Heart run. So yeah, that's. Hope you kind of got a good idea of kind of what I was doing that run. In not every game you're going to get 3 Wraith Forms, but to be honest, Wraith Form and Intangible is a very viable way of surviving as a Silent, and there's more than one way to do that. Like, you don't need to just pick up 3 copies of the card. You can also Nightmare out. Nightmare creates 3 copies of a card in your deck. So you just need 1 Wraith form and a Nightmare, and all of a sudden you have 4 Wraith forms in a deck. It takes a bit of setup, more so than just being able to draw your Wraith form, but that's what it does. So can I open the deck? I can't. So yeah, like, what did we do? We let's have a go in it. So yeah, we had the Wraith form, absolutely. If I go statistics, run history. Okay, so yeah, what worked well? We had the 3 Wraith forms, obviously. You don't need to speak too much about that. What do we need to pull that off? Well, we needed a well-laid plans, and I hope you can see how valuable our well-laid plans was. We were just able to hold on to not just Wraith form, a bunch of different cards when we needed it. And I think at the start as well, when we didn't have any of that, well-laid plans was still quite good. It still helped us a little bit. But certainly well-laid plans' real value comes towards the end. I think 1,000 cuts was a really big moment in the run. We had a bunch of Wraith forms, and our mitigation was just so good, but we couldn't kill things fast enough, and we came across a few Act 2 elites where that was starting to become a problem, and our Wraith form, even though we had absolutely tons of it, just wasn't holding out long enough by the time we actually killed the enemy, because all we were able to do was rely on finisher and try and get a big finishers off. Then we got 1,000 cuts, and all of a sudden our damage starts ramping up like crazy, and we just flew through the rest of Act 2, and 1,000 cuts helped us big time in Act 3. Also, what helped us in Act 3 was Corpse Explosion. Really, really important for a lot of those floors. We were able to, at that point, we just had the damage that we can just we could Wraith form up, put Corpse Explosion on an enemy, and let that take over. I think definitely our deck still lacked massively in damage. The fights ran quite long, the boss fights, but we were able to just hold out, and we had enough cards, kind of scaling cards towards the end. Picking up Noxious Fumes at the very end helped. When we were able to potion out the power potion that got us in Venom against the heart, that really helped. So yeah, that's kind of what the deck was trying to do. I hope you can see what I mean about like cards pinging off each other. Like well-laid plans, for example, is a really good example of that. But also like the Thread and Needle with the Wraith form was a huge deal. That just saved us, probably through the run, probably saved us like 30 or 40 health. And the value of card draw in the silent as well, trying to get us to those things that we really needed. Then obviously, you had finisher pinging off all the different low mana cost cards that we had. You had 1,000 cuts doing the similar thing. So a load of different interactions in this deck that got us to win. Okay, so that's the run. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna move on to the defect now, try and get Ascension 20 with the defect, but I might come back and do a few Ironclad and Silent runs, just kind of not like tutorials to them, just runs, because I quite enjoy doing them and talking about them. Okay, great. Thanks for watching, guys.